Welcome to the Cycling Demystified 12 Days of Bike Fitting. If this is your first time here, I'm your host, Wei, lead bike fitter of Foundation Bike Fit, and I'll be joined by my fellow fitter Matt and our in-house mechanic Ev from Frequency Cycle Works. 2024 has been an amazing year for the podcast, and as we near the end of the year, we wanted to create a little something extra to say thanks to all of you for listening, for your feedback and for all of your support. So what we've done is asked bike fitters from around the world and friends of the podcast to contribute an actionable bike fit tip to help you find even more comfort, efficiency and performance in 2025. Each day in the lead up till Christmas, we will play one tip and then the team and I will explore each tip in a bit more detail so you can get the most from all these nuggets of gold. And here we are on day 11 with our good friend Kriss Hendy from Strength for Endurance.
Hey guys, this is Kriss Hendy from Strength for Endurance. With regards to anyone we're working with who's coming off the back of having a bike fit analysis, we're always looking for them to have an individualized strength and conditioning program that kind of supports those new positions, that new bike fit, because often there are a lot of kind of restrictions that have been identified. There's kind of mobility issues. There's areas of weakness that have accumulated through obviously static lifestyle, where potentially you're coming back into cycling after a long time away. Potentially you are someone who spends a lot of time commuting at work and then obviously getting onto the bike. We want to obviously create a lot more freedom through your pelvis, through your hips, through your lower back, but also obviously wanted to bring some more strength and conditioning into those supporting muscle groups, making sure hamstrings, glutes, down into your quadriceps, hip flexors. We want to improve the range of motion and mobility of those. We need to actually improve the tissue quality. That means we actually need to improve its capacity for work. So we need to strengthen them, essentially. We need to make sure that you don't have any obvious imbalances. We want to make sure that you have good range of motion through those key joints, upper thoracics, your upper back and shoulders, down into your pelvis and your hips, down into your knees, down into your ankles. We want all these areas to be freely moving. As we age, as I said, as we pick up injury, these areas can become very congested, can become, there's muscle atrophy, so weakness can take place. So we want to make sure that alongside your bike fit, you have this individualized strength and conditioning program that accompanies your current cycling program, for instance, as well. That is all going to kind of make sure that you are moving forward in the right direction. And so that bike fit, when you start to put more power through the pedals, when you start to actually put more volume into your program, your body is going to respond well to that new bike fit position. Without this integration, you're just relying on that kind of position alone to do the work.
So bike riding, it's like taking a big dog for a walk.
How big?
Big.
Like
we're talking like Bernese mountain dog kind of vibe.
Like a T-Rex.
Like a T-Rex that is very excitable.
Not a pug.
Not a pug. No.
Not a pug with breathing difficulties.
So bear with me. So you see someone in the park with a big dog. Who's taking who for a walk? Is the dog taking that person for a walk, or is that person in control of the dog? I think what Kriss is kind of getting at is a similar kind of point. Are you in control of your stability and your force production on the bike, or are you relying on the bike to essentially be a crutch to brace against, to hold your posture and keep you upright and allow you to have something to push against on the bike? And by increasing the capacity of your body to tolerate the load in terms of creating your stability, being a master of your stability and producing force, you therefore have more options to go further, faster, higher, louder, whatever you want. So you have to be the master of your bicycle rather than be a passenger, a passive passenger on your bike. And one of the ways to do that, once your bike fit is in a good place, once we've created the environment for you to move well, is to increase your capacity and your strength to maintain good movement for the duration of your ride at the desired output.
I think the clue's in Kriss's company's name, Strength for Endurance.
He's not daft either, is he?
Yeah, I like the analogy of, just because I gave you a pair of really flashy trainers with a carbon plate in it, doesn't mean that you can just go out and run a marathon tomorrow.
How dare you gatekeep?
A 12-minute mile is still a 12-minute mile, whether your shoes cost 30 quid or 300 quid.
So just because you've got, the 12 grand S-Works bike doesn't mean you have the capacity to go out and ride the Etap. You kind of have to earn the right in many ways, and that's what training is. What Kriss is getting at is also training yourself in the right kind of way, identifying where the improvements could be, where are the opportunities for you, and the obvious places where people like to train when they get on the bike is just go and ride their bikes and improve that aerobic engine, just do the mileage. But do you have the strength to control the movement, which is where your point comes in, Matt? Who's taking who?
I appreciate you trying to work in my analogy of the big dog. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, like you said, Way, we're always obsessed with improving the aerobic capacity and the kind of the cardiovascular function. But if you take an engine from a Bugatti and put it into a chassis of a little Citroen, as soon as you tickle the throttle, the thing's going to explode. And it's the same thing with your body. If your body doesn't have the capacity to deal with that aerobic function that you've created, then you're increasing your risk of injury exponentially. So you have to have the capacity to be able to handle the power that you can generate through your aerobic system in order to be able to translate that into forward motion on the bike.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where getting people off the bike and taking them into the gym, which is often,
It's gym with a G.
yeah. But we like to try and get people to think about the gym as a safe place. It's a place where you can start to experiment, that you can make movements in a controlled fashion, and you can understand very quickly where your opportunities are, where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, and where you can make the improvements very quickly. And otherwise, it's very difficult to know exactly what to do. Where can you be making those improvements? At the end of the day, if you get stronger, the very basic concept is that if you're stronger, work just becomes easier. And if work becomes easier, you can just do more. So the stronger you are, the more capacity you have, the longer you can go, the easier work becomes, the more power you can put into a certain effort, the longer you can hold a certain position, the more aerodynamic you can stay. So strength itself is a really, really critical component of your overall performance. And certainly as cyclists, endurance athletes, we don't often think about strength in that kind of way, particularly for ultra endurance athletes, where your capacity to stay and just remain in a certain position and hold good form, quality, as Kriss was saying, quality of movement, quality of your tissues. Can you maintain that quality? Because that's really what it's all about.
And strength training is very individual, because we all have different things that we need to work on.
Yep.
So a generic kind of training plan might not actually be the best use of your time. So seeking out some advice and making your program unique and individual to you and your specific needs is going to be the best use of your time and your effort. Because otherwise, you're just kind of going through the motions. And there are some kind of core, baseline principles that will kind of get you started. But everyone, especially strength for endurance sports, whether that's cycling, running, swimming, whatever that might be, it is unique to the individual.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out where your opportunities are, where you need to put the work in, and get a program that is tailored to those needs.
Yeah. Just as a very quick, simple concept, like running and cycling are single leg sports. You're never pushing down on the pedals with both feet at the same time. So when you get into the gym, if you concentrate on doing single leg strength and mobility work, that will benefit you so much more than just doing the generic kind of twin-legged kind of squats and deadlifts or whatever. You can suddenly realize where the opportunities are, because guarantee you that one leg will be stronger, one leg will be more stable, one leg will have more mobility. And so balancing out those differences could be like a really big ticket to better performance overall. Thanks for listening, and tune in tomorrow for another bike fit tip from the Cycling Demystified 12 Days of Bike Fitting. If you've enjoyed what you've heard or found any of the information has made a difference for your riding, we would be super grateful if you could do two things. Firstly, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star rating or review, as this really helps other riders find our podcast and access the same useful information you've been enjoying. Secondly, tell your friends on the next group ride to give us a listen. The more you can spread the word, the more riders can find a better ride. Thanks again, and catch you on the next one.
Suffering from numb hands, tingling toes, and any other persistent discomforts when you ride? These are all signs that your bike fit could be improved. If you're bike fit curious, get in touch with Way or Matt by emailing info@foundation.fit or finding them on Instagram @FDN_bikefit. Finally, for all your bike servicing needs, custom dream bike or hand-built wheels, go to www.frequencycycleworks.com or find me on Instagram @frequencycycleworks. Until next time, keep on spinning.